So, you're trying to play the game right here. In this video, we're going to dive in deep into how Hell Let Loose works. We're going to dive into each team, the game modes, the process of the game modes, additionally with how each of your troops that you can choose from works. Let's jump right in. Alright, so we launch the game and we come to this homepage. Overall, we have Enlist, Barracks, Practice Range, Field Manual, Additional Content, and Options. We're going to start from the bottom up. First, let's dive into the options. In the options, you can choose from gameplay, controls, videos, key bindings, controller, and audio. Before you go into your first game, you have to go to this page. In the gameplay tab option, you can change your clan tag, your FOV, manual bolt cycling. It goes on and on and on. You can turn off gore, how long it takes the dead bodies to despawn, have show hints. If you're new to the game, turn show hints on. Next, we have the controls tab. When you go into your first game, you'll go into here. I promise you, you're going to change your sensitivity of your joysticks or your mouse. The options and control is how you get there. I've got my mouse sensitivity set to 12, free look sensitivity to 14, and then my ADS sensitivity is also at 12. All of those slight little controls that you use with your mouse or your controller and your keyboard are changed in here. The next tab that we have is the video. This is how your game looks. Overall, I've got my settings set to the gameplay I enjoy. It still looks good. I get about 120 to 130 frames, and I play Recon a lot. So that's why if you look towards the bottom, I've got my view distance on high. The next tab is key bindings. In this, you have common, infantry, driver, and admin. If you're new to the game, you're never even going to look at admin. That's where you can move around with the servers a little bit. If you have your own server, we've got driver controls, infantry controls, which is also controlled through the common controls. If you're running around shooting, how do you reload? How do you call this in? How do you use this? This is where you change that. If you're playing on controller, it has its own controller tab. This is where you'll change your key bindings if you're playing on a controller. Next is the audio tab. This one you have free range over. However you want your game to sound, this is where you do it. I've got my master volume set to 0, so it's not a bunch of action going on in the background. But you can change the microphone volume. You can check your microphone to how loud it sounds. The voice volume of each person in your squad. SFX volume. Unit voice volume, everything that you hear in your ears, you're able to change here. Next, we go into the additional content page. This is where you buy all your DLCs. If you're just getting into the game, stay away from here. You don't need any of this. Once you get to know the game, you know what you like, you know how to dress for certain wars, certain maps. This is where you can get those. Next is the field manual. And if you're playing this game, I know you don't read, so you don't need to click on this. I'm kidding. In the field manual, it has all the how-tos for each one, but it might not make sense because you haven't played yet. That is okay. Continue to watch the video. Next, we've got our practice range, which we're going to jump to Barracks before because we're going to dive in depth into the practice range because it carries over to the Enlist, which we're saving for last. In the Barracks, you're able to see all the different factions. We've got Germany, Soviet Union, Allies, German Africa Corps, British 8th Army, United States, and that's it. In there, you can see the breakdown. This yellow bar means that's the amount of XP that you've gained in each position. You can see I like playing officer, I'm level 7 at it. You can see I like playing engineer, I'm level 4, support level 3. We're going to dive into those once we go into the practice range, but just know this is how you see your loadouts for each one. Right here where it says loadout, you can click the right arrow to see appearance. Here, under the divisions, you're going to see the DLC bundles, but you can have your presets saved. What I like to do is I like to have a winter map preset along with a foliage preset. It's nice, it's easy, you can just click on one the moment you enter the game. Alright, it's come to that time, let's dive into the practice range. The moment you click on practice range, you can click United States, Germany, Soviet Union, or Allies. The only difference this is going to do in the practice range is what guns you can use. But all the other controls, the features, everything about it is still the same. I'm going to go as United States. All right, so here's the important part. This carries over to when you click enlist. When you're in an actual game, the game starts and you have no idea what to click. Overall, there's 3 total battalions, if you want to say. Infantry, Armor, Recon. Armor's a tank squad. If you're new to the game, stay away from the tank squad. Watch a few YouTube videos. Learn it first because Armor squad is the most challenging. On the very bottom, we've got Recon squad. Recon squad is a 2-man squad. One person, the Recon specialist, he's able to place garrisons, outposts for his squad, which is just of 2. But the primary purpose of a recon is get to enemy backlines. You need to try and take out garrisons, outposts, the enemy artilleries, and also the enemy nodes. What are nodes, you ask? We'll get into that in a little bit. If I was in your shoes first playing this game, click on Infantry. Under Infantry, you're going to see Officer, Rifleman, Assault, Automatic Rifleman, Medic, Support, Machine Gunner, Anti-Tank, Engineer. It has the other breakdown here of Tank Commander, Crewman for Armor, and then the Spotter, that Recon Specialist for Recon, and the Sniper. That's how you get the scope in Hell Let Loose. So, playing Sniper's a lot of fun. Overall, looking at this page, it can get very confusing because you've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different positions just for infantry. Here's the thing. This game requires a microphone. It's all about communication from the top down. The commander, he communicates with the squad leads. The squad leads are able to communicate to him and then other squad leads and also the people in their squad. The squad mates, i.e. Rifleman, Assault, Automatic Rifleman, Medic, Support, Machine Gunner, Anti-Tank, and Engineer, are all a part of that squad. The officer's that squad leader. Stay away from squad officer in your first game and if you don't have a microphone. But looking at this page, a rifleman, he doesn't do much. All he is a grunt. He's got a gun. That's essentially it. He can drop ammo. I know that's useful in game modes like defense, but we'll get there. Next, we have Assault. Assault starts with an automatic, essentially submachine gun. Not a bad gun in close quarters, but these maps are huge. Once you level him up, you can see he gets a shotgun, he gets more grenades, and then he gets Raider Pack where he can blow up tanks with it, set traps. It's a great time. He's a good resource to have in your squad, but not my favorite. We'll get to my favorite. Next is the Automatic Rifleman. Really, it's no different to the Rifleman, but this time you get a bigger gun, you shoot bigger bullets. You still have a pretty short clip, so you got to watch your ammo pretty carefully. The problem with it is this class now doesn't have ammo you can drop. Next is the Medic, and that one's in the name. You can see he's got this little morphine. He's got 20 of them. If your squad mates, if anyone on your team goes down, not to a headshot's an automatic kill. Anyone that goes down, he's able to heal them. He's also got 20 bandages. The normal person, Rifleman, Assault, and the rest of them only have 2. So he can get you up, you'll be bleeding, and he can patch you up real quick. The next one is the Support, which is my favorite aside from Officer. The Support is so useful in games, right? His kit is just like a normal Rifleman. He's got a gun, bolt action, until you're level 8, and then you get a flamethrower. Woo! Watch out for that. But this thing right here, supplies. Supplies are so important in every single game mode, and it's an easy way to get XP. This is how I started playing. I got him level 3. I'm happy. What supplies do, it lets people, the officers on your team, any officer, and your commander, build nodes with them, and also build garrisons. Garrisons will help your team out. They're spaced out across the map. Those are the things you can spawn on. But we'll get into that more later. I love the support role. It's so useful. Make sure that your squad always has a support. If there is none, play it. Next, we got the machine gunner. This is the guy that posts up in a window, posts up in a broken building. He sees a bunch of enemies pushing in, and he dumps a clip down range. That's his job, is to hold enemies off from pushing down open fields, open roads. That's this guy's job. Next is anti-tank, and it's in the name, anti-tank. He's the guy that blows up tanks. The very first class you start with is a bazooka as your secondary. Aside from that, he's just a normal rifleman. Once you get further on, the real fun starts on anti-tank when you're level 6. That bottom right thing below the little Tommy gun is a satchel. If you're able to level up anti-tank or support first, the satchel makes a huge difference in the game. This is a brave soldier. He's the guy that has to run up to the tank, strap the satchel to it, run away, and in 20 seconds that thing goes kaboom. Lastly, in infantry, we've got the engineer, the wizard, the smartest man on the battlefield. The engineer plays a huge role in your team, especially in the early game. This is the man, you can see his little hammer in the bottom left there of his kit. He's got the ability to build defenses on site. Additionally, he's got the ability to build nodes. Now, what nodes are? There are 3 total different types of nodes. We've got manpower, we've got ammunitions, munitions, and additionally, we've got fuel. The fuel helps the armors. The manpower, the commander can use that to reinforce certain points. And the munitions allows for things like bombing runs, precision strikes, ammo to be used by the commander. The engineer plays such an important role. If you can get him to level 3, he also acts as a secondary anti-tank because he also has a satchel in his kit. Overall, if you're able to place your nodes early with supplies from the support in your squad, you are able to rack in so much XP. If you're playing this game with a buddy, you should join a squad and play support and engineer. As engineer, you'll use his supplies. He'll get XP for that. You'll place down the nodes, and you'll rack in XP throughout the entire game. It's an easy way to level up, and it's an easy way to boost this class to higher levels. Hence, I've got it at level 4. All right, now that I've described all the classes aside from officer, we're going to go into a practice mode just to show you what it's like. So, here I am in the practice mode. Here is my entire kit. I've got an M1 Grand, which is a semi-auto weapon, a grenade, a smoke grenade, 2 bandages, a watch, which might be confusing, binoculars, and my knife. The thing I want to dive into that confuses people the most is the watch. What this does is if you hold right click, you can see I placed this. Now we've got an outpost. What an outpost does is it allows the people in your squad only to spawn on this. You can place a new one every 2 minutes. You don't need any supplies. So they're really easy to help the advance of your team and specifically your squad. Now, if you scroll while holding this, you'll see this other thing pop up. And what this is a garrison. If we place this down, rather than the outpost, the garrison allows for the entire team to spawn on it. The problem is that if this was the map, you'd see half of it as red, half of it as blue. In the blue zone or the white zone, it takes 50 supplies to build a garrison. If you're in the enemy's red zone, it takes 100 supplies. Now, looking at a hypothetical map, this is what a garrison will look like. It'll show up as a green little flag. They deploy every 40 seconds. This is my squad's outpost spawn. Those are on a 20-second timer. This right here is a half-track. It's a tankish kind of vehicle that the commander can call in. He can drive it somewhere. He can set it up. It counts. Doesn't count. It works just like a garrison. Now that you know how each unit, each squad, each member of each squad works, the bigger parts of the game. Let's click enlist. At first glance, when you click enlist, it can be confusing. I've got offensive heaven, U.S. Central number 3, 100 out of 100 players. Offensive Germany, my ping. What I like to do is I always like to organize it by my ping, right? You want to play on a server that you have good connection to. The other thing then is the number of players. You can never join 100 out of 100 players. Let's see if there is any. Right? If I click on this, you'll see that there's 3 out of 6 in queue. If I was to click join server, I would be in spot 4. As soon as someone leaves the game, I'd go down to 3, so on, so on, so on. But the different game modes. The different game modes are a lot of fun. I suggest you try them all out. My personal favorite is offensive. And what offensive is? One team's going to be on offense, one team's going to be on defense. The team on offense has 3 garrisons that they start out with. They're trying to capture the nearest point. It's on the top or bottom of the map. They have to capture all 5 locations before the game ends in order to win. On the other side of things, there's a team on defense. They're trying to hold off the enemy for as long as they can on any point that's next. The problem that new gamers have with offensive is if the offense is to take the first point, they want to try and capture it back. You can't. What you have to do is honestly just hit escape, click redeploy, and redeploy to a garrison that's on the next point, halfway to the point, so on, so on. You can't try capturing that point because you can't. It's impossible. The game mode you're thinking of is warfare. Warfare is where your team starts with 2 points, the other team starts with 2 points, and you're fighting over the middle one. If you take it, the enemy can always take it back, and you could take that back, and so on, so on, so on. Warfare is extremely tactical, and it's a lot of fun if you can get the hang of it. The next game is Skirmish. Really, it's just a glorified King of the Hill. If your team is able to command that point for more than half the time of the game, which oftentimes it's 30 minutes, then your team wins. It's a lot of fun because there's only 1 point there. You know where the action's going to be. If I was in your shoes, start out with Skirmish. You're running to 1 point no matter what. There's only one, and you're just trying to retake that point. It's a fun game mode. Once you start to understand the warfare, the tactics, the communication, then start going into offensive and warfare. So, I'm going into a game here of warfare. Once you get to this page, you get to choose your team. Me, I like my Germany kits a little more. I'm going to click on Germany. You're going to see the commander normally. Sometimes you don't have a commander, and it's unfortunate. But you can see all the different squads here. You can see the armory squads. You can see the recon squads. Also, the thing to remember, there can only be 2 recon squads. If those 2 are full, you're not going to get into one. There can only be 6 armory classes, 6 tank runners. Oftentimes, you're not going to get that many tanks. You can have as many infantry squads as you want. How to join a squad? You click on this button right here, this arrow. This guy has a squad locked because this little lock is lighting up, but I'm going to join Love Squad. There we go, I'm in. Like I said, I like to play support. It's useful. You can drop supplies for any officer, your commander. Hit confirm. Now here are the garrisons. I've got a garrison here I can spawn on that goes in 18 seconds. I've got my HQ spawns back here. These go every 10 seconds. But remember, these maps are huge. To run from this HQ to this garrison right here would take about 8 minutes. Save yourself the time. Spawn. Oh, look at that. Garrison just went down. I'm going to hit deploy, and I'm going to deploy when that timer's up. Additionally, if outposts, other squad outposts, glow red like this, that means enemies are near. That means you got to be prepared for action if you're spawning in on it. So, we're in the game now, and you can just hear the chaos. The only thing that I haven't told you, 2 things. If you are inside the point, like, look here. My little guy right here, if I click M and go to the map, my guys inside the circle. That's how you dedicate yourself to capturing a point. I can see that our troops are 3-2, and we have it captured. If it was 2-2, it might vary a little bit, but overall, we have more people on this point than they do. That's what that is telling me. Lastly, how to use your microphone. If you want to talk to your squad, you'll hold C. You'll notice in the bottom left-hand corner, it's going to glow green. If you hold C, you're able to talk to your team, communicate things like, hey, I just got shot at from north. Right? He just died from the north, so that was an accurate call out. If you want to have fun in the game, you're going to hold V. Oh my gosh, that scared me. Did you notice how that lit up blue? The blue is your push to talk, your VoIP, essentially. That's how you communicate with someone standing right next to you. You'll hear a lot of guys screaming. You'll hear a lot of guys pretending it's actual warfare. That's the fun in the game. Have some fun in VoIP. And that's all there is to it. I know that's a lot of information, but this game is so much fun strategically, tactically, and especially with buddies. If you have a few friends, play this game with them. Remember, this game is gruesome. It's not for the weak. It's hard to learn. I hope you take everything in this video that I have said, right, about the supports, the engineers. All the squads have to work together in order for your team to win. That's the end goal. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hopefully see you guys in a live stream sometime. We'll see you in the next video.